My girlfriend called me cheap for refusing a $25,000 engagement ring, so I walked away, and now she's paying the ultimate price for her greed. I've always been a pretty level-headed guy. Nothing flashy about me, just a 29-year-old IT dude who's worked hard for a decent life. No debt, a house I bought on my own, and a practical mindset drilled into me by my dad, Joe. My family's not big on frills. My sister, Kelly, is the same way. She's a teacher and way smarter than me when it comes to seeing through people. Enter Vanessa, a 27-year-old female we met at a friend's house party 2 years ago. She stood out, fun, energetic, and drop-dead gorgeous. She had this carefree attitude, and I won't lie, I was hooked. She made me feel like life didn't have to be all about planning and spreadsheets. So, we started dating, and despite our differences, I thought we balanced each other out. Her family, though, was a whole different league. Her mom, Carla, was the kind of person who'd host a baby shower with ice sculptures and monogrammed cupcakes. Her dad, Alan, was a corporate guy who believed money could solve any problem. Vanessa grew up in that world where luxury wasn't just a perk, it was the norm. Meanwhile, I grew up with my dad pulling double shifts as a truck driver after my mom left. Kelly and I learned the value of money and how to stretch every dollar. Still, I thought Vanessa and I clicked. She liked how grounded I was, and I loved how she brought a sense of fun into my life. It wasn't perfect, she had her moments where she'd get a little pouty if things didn't go her way, but I figured no one's perfect. Now, fast forward 2 years, and things were good. At least, I thought they were. The topic of marriage came up naturally, and I was ready. Vanessa seemed ready too. But then came the hints. It started small, like her casually mentioning how big her coworker's engagement ring was. 3 carats, she said one day while we were watching TV. Can you imagine? That's, like, the perfect size, not too flashy but still impressive. I just nodded, thinking it was one of those girl things where they dream about wedding stuff. No big deal. But it didn't stop there. One day, she sent me a photo of a ring she liked. "This is so me," she said. I looked it up, $11,800. I joked about it, saying, "That's a car, not a ring." She laughed it off, but her hints got more direct after that. Whenever we were out with her friends, she'd point out someone's ring and say things like, "That's cute, but I'd prefer something timeless, like a Cartier Solitaire." It got to the point where I felt like I was on some weird game show where the prize was spending my life savings on jewelry. I figured it was just her getting excited about the idea of getting married. I mean, people talk about rings, right? So, I decided to talk to Kelly about it. She laughed and said, "Dude, she's testing you. Don't fall for it." My dad, ever the blunt one, said, "A $20,000 ring? What's next, a gold-plated driveway?" But I brushed it off. I thought maybe I was overreacting, reading too much into it. Vanessa's not a bad person, she's just different. Then came the family dinner where the real fun began. Vanessa invited her parents over to get to know me better. I thought it'd be a casual thing, but I walked in to find her mom and dad already there. "Vanessa tells us you've been talking about engagement rings," Carla started, smiling like she was hosting a talk show. "Do you have something in mind?" I wasn't ready for that. I stammered something about wanting to find a nice ring but not going overboard. That's when Alan chimed in. "You can't skimp on an engagement ring. It's an investment." Investment? I almost laughed. Was I buying a house or getting married? I tried to stay polite, but Vanessa jumped in, saying, "Yeah, I showed him a few options, but he's being practical." She said practical like it was a disease. I could feel the pressure building. Carla smiled and said, "A woman's engagement ring is a reflection of her fiancé. It shows how much he values her." Finally, I snapped. I value Vanessa for who she is, not the size of a ring. I think that matters more. Her parents gave each other a look, but Vanessa, she lost it. "You're embarrassing me," she yelled. "Why can't you just be supportive?" I didn't yell back. I just looked at her and said, "Because this isn't about support. It's about priorities, and mine aren't on a $25,000 ring." Vanessa's face went red, and I could see her struggling to keep it together. But then she said the words that changed everything. "If you won't step up, maybe I should find someone who will." The room went silent. Vanessa looked like she immediately regretted it, but it was too late. I grabbed my keys, said, "Good luck with that," and walked out. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about the ring. It was about what Vanessa and I wanted out of life, and they weren't the same things. After that dinner, Vanessa doubled down on the ring talk, like we were in some sort of competition with the Kardashians. A few days later, we're having dinner at her place. She's scrolling on her phone while we're eating, not even trying to be subtle. Then she slides her phone across the table like she's presenting a business proposal. "Look at this one," she says. "It's a Tiffany solitaire. Price tag? A casual $23,500. I just stared at her, hoping she was joking. "Vanessa, you can't be serious." She rolled her eyes. "Why not? It's perfect. I'd wear it forever. It's not like you can't afford it." That last line hit a nerve. I wasn't poor by any means, but I wasn't exactly swimming in cash either. I've worked hard to be financially stable, and here she was acting like I had a money tree in the backyard. "It's not about whether I can afford it," I said. "It's about whether it's a smart decision." She leaned back, crossing her arms. "What do you mean, smart decision? This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's not like I'm asking for a yacht." The yacht comment was meant to make me feel ridiculous, but it just made me more annoyed. "Vanessa, $25,000 is a down payment on a house. Do you know how long it takes to save that kind of money?" Her response? "It's not about the money. It's about what it represents. It shows how much you care." And there it was, the typical symbolism argument. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So, let me get this straight. If I spend less than $25,000 on a ring, that means I don't care about you?" She didn't answer right away, which was answer enough for me. Instead, she gave me this look, like I was some clueless idiot who didn't understand how the world worked. "I'm just saying it is a big deal. My mom's ring is worth more than that, and they've been happily married for 30 years. I wasn't about to sit there and let her rewrite reality. Your mom's ring didn't keep their marriage together. They did. This whole thing about the ring being a symbol, it's just marketing. It's a rock, Vanessa, a shiny, expensive rock. You'd think I'd insulted her entire bloodline. It's not just a rock. It's a commitment. It's about showing that you're serious about us." At this point, I realized we were speaking completely different languages. I thought a ring was about love and intent. She thought it was a status symbol. And it wasn't just her whole world revolved around appearances. The hints turned into straight-up demands after that night. It was like she thought if she just pushed hard enough, I'd eventually cave. I realized that one time when we were hanging out with her friends. One of them asked how our ring shopping was going. Before I could say anything, Vanessa jumped in. "Oh, we're still deciding. I've shown him a few options, but you know how guys are. They don't understand what's important to us." Her friends laughed like it was the funniest thing ever, and I just sat there, stewing. She was making me look like some clueless, unsupportive boyfriend in front of people who didn't even know me. Later that night, I brought it up. "Why would you say that? You made it sound like I'm not serious about this." She shrugged, like it was no big deal. "I was just joking. Relax." But it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like she was setting the stage for some narrative where I was the bad guy if I didn't do exactly what she wanted. The final straw came during a family gathering, this time with my family. My dad, my sister, and I had Vanessa over, and somehow the topic of rings came up again. Vanessa wasted no time letting everyone know her standards. "Well, I've always believed that an engagement ring should be an investment, something timeless and valuable," she said, looking straight at Kelly, like she was trying to make some kind of point. Kelly didn't miss a beat. "That's an interesting take. I always thought the investment was in the person, not the jewelry." I couldn't agree more. Vanessa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Of course, but a ring is forever, and it's something that shows the world how much you value your partner." My dad, ever the straight shooter, chuckled. "Well, I got my late wife's ring from a local jeweler for $800, and we were married for 20 years. Doesn't seem like the ring was what mattered." Vanessa's face froze. She tried to recover with a laugh, but you could tell she wasn't happy. Later, when we were driving home, she let me have it. "Your family doesn't get it. They're acting like I'm shallow for wanting something nice." I tried to explain that it wasn't about the nice part, it was about the price tag and the pressure. "Vanessa, you're not shallow, but you have to understand, this is a huge amount of money for something that doesn't actually build our future." Her response? "You're just like them, cheap." I couldn't take that word again. Cheap. It stuck in my head like a splinter. I realized then that this wasn't just a disagreement, it was a fundamental difference in how we saw life, money, and each other. And the worst part? I was starting to feel like no matter what I did, it wouldn't be enough for her. At this point, Vanessa wasn't just hinting anymore, it was full-on pressure. And honestly, I was getting fed up. The more I tried to explain my perspective, the more she acted like I was committing some kind of relationship crime. After the family dinner, where she didn't exactly win over my dad or Kelly, things at home got tense. Vanessa wasn't outright yelling or anything, but she had this way of making her disappointment known without saying it directly. The other night, I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, and she walked in with her laptop. She didn't even sit down, just stood there with the laptop open, facing me. "Can you explain something to me?" she asked, her tone already making it clear this wasn't going to be a casual conversation. I looked up, bracing myself. "Sure, what's up?" She turned the laptop around, showing me an article titled, "How much should you spend on an engagement ring?" It had some nonsense rule about spending 3 months' salary. Vanessa, of course, had already done the math. According to this, you should be spending at least $21,000. I blinked at her, half expecting her to laugh and say she was kidding. But no, she was dead serious. "You don't actually believe that, do you?" I asked. She crossed her arms. "Why not? It's standard. Most people follow it." "Vanessa," I said, trying to keep my cool, "that rule was literally made up by diamond companies to sell more rings. It's marketing, not reality." Her face tightened. "So, you're saying I don't deserve a ring that meets basic expectations?" She kept throwing the same words around, like I was some villain trying to cheat her out of her dream life. "I'm not saying that at all," I replied. "I'm saying I'm not going to let a made-up rule dictate how I spend my money." She didn't like that answer, not one bit. "It's not just about the money," she snapped. "It's about the fact that you don't seem to care about making me happy. Every time I bring this up, you shut me down like I'm being unreasonable." I leaned forward, looking her in the eye. "Because it is unreasonable to expect me to spend that much on something that doesn't help us in the long run. Do you know what else we could do with $25,000? We could put it toward a bigger house, invest it, or..." She cut me off. "There you go again, acting like I'm asking you to drain your bank account. You make good money. This shouldn't even be an issue." And that's when I realized Vanessa didn't just see the ring as a symbol of love, she saw it as a status symbol, something to show off. She wasn't thinking about us as a team or our future together. This was all about her image. Things only got worse from there. A few days later, we were out with her friends again. I was hoping for a chill night, but nope. One of her friends, Ashley, asked how the ring shopping was going, and before I could even respond, Vanessa jumped in. "Oh, we're still deciding," she said with this fake smile. "But I've shown him a few options that would be perfect for us. He's just being cautious." Her tone was polite, but the underlying jab was clear. Everyone at the table picked up on it, and they all gave me that look, like I was some cheapskate holding her back from her dream. I tried to redirect the conversation, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. On the way home, I brought it up. "Why do you keep making me sound like I'm the bad guy in front of your friends?" She looked genuinely confused. "What are you talking about?" "You know exactly what I'm talking about. Every time this ring comes up, you make it sound like I'm dragging my feet or being cheap. Do you have any idea how that makes me feel?" She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. It's not like I'm lying. You are being cheap." That word again, cheap, I'd heard enough. "You're damn right I'm not dropping 25 grand on a ring," I shot back, cutting through her smug tone. "It's called being responsible. You might want to try it sometime." She scoffed, waving me off like I was some clueless kid. "You're so dramatic. All I want is a nice ring, something I can actually be proud of." I leaned forward, locking eyes with her. "And you seriously think a $5,000 or $7,000 ring isn't nice? You're acting like anything under a car's worth is an insult. Let me tell you what's embarrassing, being more worried about the price tag than the person giving it to you." That shut her up. She sat there, staring out the window, pretending to ignore me, but the tension in the car was louder than any argument we could have had. The next morning, I woke up to a text from my sister, Kelly. She'd heard about the latest drama because, of course, Vanessa had vented to her mutual friends, and it somehow made its way back to Kelly. "You need to set some boundaries with her," Kelly wrote. "This isn't about the ring anymore. It's about control." She was right. Vanessa wasn't just upset about the ring itself, she was upset that I wasn't bending to her will. But things didn't stop there. Vanessa started dropping snide comments during everyday conversations. If I mentioned saving money or budgeting, she'd say something like, "Oh, so you can be frugal about that, but not about something that actually matters to me?" It was like she was building a case against me in her head, one sarcastic comment at a time. And the worst part? She started involving her parents again. Then I got a call from her dad. "Hey, just wanted to check in and see how things are going," he said casually. I wasn't in the mood for small talk, so I cut to the chase. "What's this about, Alan?" He hesitated for a moment, then said, "Vanessa mentioned you're hesitant about the ring. I just wanted to make sure everything's okay between you two." I couldn't believe it. She'd actually gone to her dad to complain about that effing ring. "Everything's fine," I said curtly. Vanessa and I just have different ideas about what's important. Vanessa was now using her parents as backup, like they were some kind of relationship referees. That night, I sat her down. "We need to talk," I said. She looked up from her phone, already annoyed. "About what?" "This whole ring situation. It's starting to feel like you're more focused on the price tag than the relationship." "That's not fair," she said, looking angry. "No, what's not fair is the constant pressure you're putting on me," I said. "I'm trying to build a future with you, but you're acting like the only thing that matters is how much I spend." She sat there, glaring at me like I was the villain in her fairy tale, but I wasn't about to back down. "I've spent 2 years trying to make this relationship work, but at what cost?" It hit me hard right then. Vanessa wasn't going to change. This wasn't about the ring anymore. It was about something bigger. I'm not against spending money on someone I love, but there has to be a line. I believe a relationship is about building something together, not one person being pressured to prove their worth with an overpriced piece of jewelry. Now I'm stuck wondering, am I being stubborn for standing my ground? Is it unreasonable to think $25,000 on a ring is just absurd? Vanessa made it clear what her expectations are, but I'm not convinced I'm in the wrong here. What do you guys think? Am I being too practical, or is Vanessa asking too much again? So, remember how I said things were tense with Vanessa after that whole ring argument? Well, things didn't just stay tense, they escalated big time. I was already on edge from her constant remarks, the involvement of her parents, and this nagging feeling that no matter what I did, it was never going to be enough. But honestly, I wasn't prepared for what came next. It started on a Saturday. I was running errands and had plans to catch up with my dad and sister later in the day. Vanessa texted me while I was out, "Hey, can we talk tonight? I've been thinking about us." Now, normally I'd be all for resolving things, but with the way things had been going, I had a bad feeling about it. I replied, "Sure, let's talk after dinner with my family." Her response was immediate, "Why are you spending so much time with them lately? I thought you were committed to building a future with me." That text hit me like a slap in the face. My family wasn't just family to me, they were my support system. They'd been there for me through everything, and I wasn't about to distance myself from them because she was feeling insecure. I ignored the message, finished my errands, and headed over to my dad's house. When I got there, I filled Kelly in on the latest developments. "She's losing it," I said, showing her the text. "She acts like I'm not allowed to have a life outside of her." Kelly told me, "This isn't about your family. She's deflecting because she knows she's in the wrong. Don't let her guilt trip you." Dad chimed in too. "Son, if someone doesn't respect your family, they don't respect you. Simple as that." I'd always tried to separate the issues I had with Vanessa from how she interacted with my family, but lately, it felt like everything was bleeding together. After dinner, I headed back to my place, ready for whatever talk Vanessa wanted to have. When I walked in, she was sitting on the couch, waiting for me. "So, you're finally home," she said. "Yeah," I replied, already feeling my patience wearing thin. "I told you I was having dinner with my family." She didn't waste any time. "We need to figure this out. I can't keep feeling like I'm not a priority to you." "Not a priority?" I said. "Vanessa, I've been bending over backward trying to make you happy. The ring, the constant expectations, I'm doing everything I can, and it's still not enough for you." She started yelling. "Because you don't listen. I'm telling you what I need, and you're acting like I'm asking for the moon. It's not just about the ring. It's about you showing me that I'm worth it." And there it was again, that same argument dressed up in a different outfit. "Vanessa," I said, "this isn't about your worth. It's about the fact that you're demanding something that doesn't make sense for us financially. If I cave on this, what's next? $100,000 wedding? A vacation home?" Her face hardened. "You're exaggerating. I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm asking for what I deserve." I couldn't take it anymore. "Stop using that word, deserve. You keep saying you deserve this and that, but what about what I deserve? I deserve a partner who values me for who I am, not for how much I can spend on them." That hit a nerve. Her voice rose. "Oh, so now I'm some gold digger? Is that what you're saying?" "I didn't say that," I shot back, "but you're making it really hard to see this relationship as anything other than transactional right now." She leaned forward, her tone icy. "You know what's transactional? This entire relationship. Let's be real, you should be thanking me for sticking around as long as I have. Do you think I couldn't have found someone else who'd treat me the way I deserve by now? I've wasted 2 years trying to get you to step up. That was it for me." She crossed the line, and I wasn't going to stick around for more of her nonsense. I saw her for what she was, and there was no point dragging this out any longer. I stood up, cutting through the tension like a knife. You know what, Vanessa? I'm done. She looked up, clearly caught off guard. What are you talking about? This, I said, gesturing between us. It's not working. I've had enough of trying to keep up with your impossible expectations. If love to you is measured in dollars, then we're not on the same page, because it shows you're serious about us, she snapped back. I was unimpressed. Serious? Let me tell you something, I've been serious about this relationship since day one, but you've turned it into a checklist of how much I can spend to prove it. I've already put up with so much, she said, pushing harder. You don't take me on nice vacations. You don't spoil me like other guys would, and now you're telling me you can't even buy me a proper ring? It's embarrassing. That was her truth laid bare. I smirked, shaking my head. Embarrassing? You think you're embarrassed? Try being with someone who's been waiting 2 years for me to turn into their personal ATM. That's not what I meant, she shot back, clearly backpedaling. I just thought you'd want to make me happy. I've had to settle for less in this relationship for too long, I laughed. What exactly have you been settling for? Someone who doesn't bend over backward to fund your lifestyle? Yeah, you're right, you have been settling. She opened her mouth to respond, but I didn't give her the chance. I've tried, Vanessa. I've tried to make this work, but I can't anymore. I'm done. Her face shifted, desperate to regain control. Wait, you're breaking up with me over a ring? I shook my head. Not just the ring. I'm breaking up with you because this whole relationship is one-sided. You want someone to bankroll your life, and that's not me. I deserve a partner, not a gold digger. She tried to push back. So, you're just giving up? Throwing everything away because you're too stubborn to compromise? No, I said, grabbing my keys. You can spin this however you want, but I'm done letting you treat me like a paycheck. Good luck finding someone who'll put up with it. Without waiting for her to respond, I walked out the door. She could deal with the fallout on her own. I was done wasting my time. And that's the latest. Funny how years of a relationship can be shattered in minutes, once and forever. Right now, though, it feels like a weight has been lifted. Vanessa did not miss a chance to come again, begging for me to return. So, I thought walking away from Vanessa and her $25,000 engagement ring demands would be the end of it. I figured she'd move on, maybe trash talk me a little to her friends, and that would be that. Turns out, I seriously underestimated how far she was willing to go. Right after the breakup, Vanessa didn't waste any time trying to win me back. The very next day, she showed up at my place, looking like she hadn't slept all night. Her eyes were red, and she started crying before I even opened the door fully. Please, just hear me out, she said, clutching a tissue in one hand and her phone in the other, like she had some prepared speech ready to go. I love you, she started. I can't believe this is happening. I don't want to lose you. I know I messed up, but I can't find anyone like you. I don't want anyone else but you. She went on about how she'd been caught up in the moment and how the ring had become a bigger deal than it should have been. It's not about the money, she insisted. I just wanted to feel special, like I was worth it to you. I could see she was trying to pull at my heartstrings, but at that moment, I couldn't tell if it was real or just another way to guilt me into caving. She kept saying, "You're everything I've ever wanted, and I know I can't replace you." But it all felt like too little, too late. I stood there, letting her talk, but I'd already made up my mind. Vanessa, I said finally, this isn't about love anymore. It's about respect, and I don't think we see that the same way. Her face fell, and for a second, I thought she might push harder, but instead, she just stood there, crying quietly, as I closed the door. That was the moment I knew there was no going back, no matter how much she begged or what she said. Some things just couldn't be undone. She seemed broken, and I almost caved. However, a few days after, I got a couple of texts from mutual friends. Things like, "Hey, I heard about you and Vanessa. Are you okay?" At first, I thought they were just being supportive, but as the messages kept coming, I realized something was off. One friend even said, "I don't want to pick sides, but she's saying some stuff that doesn't sound like you." I didn't know what stuff they meant until a buddy of mine sent me a screenshot of one of her Instagram stories. In it, she wrote something like, "After 2 years of giving everything I had to someone, it's devastating to realize they never loved you enough to commit. I guess some people just aren't ready to grow up." I didn't even have the energy to respond. If she wanted to play the victim, fine. I wasn't going to stoop to her level. But that was just the beginning. A couple of days later, I got called into a meeting at work. My manager looked uncomfortable as he said, "We got an anonymous tip that you've been using company resources for personal projects. It's probably nothing, but we have to look into it." I was stunned. I'd never done anything like that, and I told him as much. He seemed to believe me, but policy was policy, so I had to spend half a day digging through emails and project logs to prove my innocence. By the end of it, my manager apologized, saying, "This was a waste of time. It's obvious you didn't do anything wrong." Still, I knew exactly who was behind it. Vanessa had once joked about how easy it was to make anonymous complaints, saying, "It's the perfect way to get back at someone without them knowing it was you." At the time, I'd laughed it off, thinking she was just being dramatic. Now, it didn't seem so funny. She also started going after my family. One night, I got a call from my dad. He sounded more amused than anything, but I could hear the frustration in his voice. "You'll never guess who showed up at my house," he said. I sighed. "Vanessa? Bingo. She showed up with some story about how you disrespected her and led her on." I told her I wasn't interested in hearing it, but she wouldn't leave until I practically closed the door in her face. I apologized, but Dad just laughed. "Son, I've dealt with tougher people than her. Don't worry about me. But you might want to watch your back, she's got a vendetta." At this point, it felt like my life was turning into a movie. Vanessa wasn't just trying to get back at me, she was trying to ruin me. And the worst part? It wasn't just behind the scenes anymore. One morning, I was scrolling through my social media when I saw Vanessa had posted a long, dramatic post on Facebook, tagging mutual friends in it. She claimed I'd promised her an expensive ring, then humiliated her by breaking things off because I couldn't afford her. She even added a line about how she'd been nothing but supportive, only to be treated like she was disposable. I didn't give a reaction to any of it. Eventually, her reckless efforts started to backfire. People who knew both of us began to see through her. One of her friends messaged me, saying, "I'm so sorry she's acting like this. She's been telling everyone you're the bad guy, but honestly, it's obvious she's just bitter." Even some of the mutual friends she tried to turn against me began reaching out. They'd heard enough of her exaggerated stories to realize she wasn't being entirely truthful. One person even said, "Honestly, she's always been into money only. You're probably better off." And they were right. I was better off. But that didn't mean it didn't suck. Dealing with the fallout of a relationship is hard enough without someone actively trying to destroy your reputation. But as tough as it was, I learned a lot about myself and about what I want in a partner. And Vanessa? Well, she can keep her $25,000 dreams. I'm done playing that game. That's it for now. I think she's finally run out of ways to drag me into her drama, but honestly, who knows what the future holds. It's been a few months since I walked away from Vanessa and her diamond obsession. I wish I could say things settled down completely, but she wasn't quite ready to let things go without one final move. If there's one thing I've learned about Vanessa, it's that she has a knack for turning even the most mundane situation into an ordeal. I was finally starting to get back to normal. Work was solid, my family had my back, and the people who mattered knew the truth about what went down. I even started dipping my toes into dating again, cautiously, because trust issues are no joke after something like this. Then, one random Tuesday afternoon, I got an email from Vanessa. The subject line? Reimbursement request. My gut told me it wasn't going to be good, and sure enough, it wasn't. She'd sent me a list of expenses she claimed were related to our relationship. It included everything from clothes she bought to look good for our dates to gas money for driving to my place and even half the meals we split. The total? $3,500. At the bottom of her email, she wrote, "Since you've decided to cut ties, I think it's only fair that you reimburse me for the investments I made during our time together. Please send the amount via bank transfer within 30 days. Thanks in advance." Investments? Like she was a venture capitalist and I was some startup she funded. I laughed out loud, but at the same time, I couldn't believe the nerve. Who even thinks this way? I forwarded the email to Kelly, who immediately called me. "Oh my God, she's actually serious, isn't she?" she said between laughs. "I mean, should we send her an invoice for all the emotional labor you put in? Or better yet, all the dinners you paid for?" Dad's take was more direct when I told him, "Send her a $1 bill with a note that says, 'For your trouble.'" As much as I wanted to respond with something snarky, I knew better. Vanessa had a way of escalating things, and I didn't want to give her any ammunition to make things worse. So, I replied with a simple, matter-of-fact message. "Vanessa, I'm not reimbursing you for gifts or personal expenses. Relationships aren't transactional. Please don't contact me again." Since then, things have been quieter. The fallout lingered for a bit, but it faded as mutual friends started seeing her for who she really was. A few even reached out to apologize. One friend said, "Honestly, she's always been like this, entitled and over the top. You dodged a bullet, man." Now, months later, I feel lighter. The whole experience taught me some tough lessons, but I came out stronger. For one, I've learned to spot red flags early and not ignore them for the sake of making it work. I've also realized how lucky I am to have family and friends who stand by me no matter what. As for Vanessa, last I heard, she's still chasing expensive dreams and hoping someone else will foot the bill. I don't envy her next boyfriend, that's for sure. Looking back, I'm not angry anymore. I'm just glad I saw the truth before it was too late. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that love should never feel like a financial transaction. Relationships are about partnership, not bank statements. If you're in a situation like I was, my advice is simple: trust your gut, stand your ground, and don't let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. And if they start sending you invoices after the breakup? Well, that's your cue to run.